that we get? What is the typical response that we get? We ask, how are you? And often we get, doing good, just busy. If we ask, how is work going? We get, work is okay. Work is work, just busy. When we ask, how are the kids doing? They're good, just busy. Studies show that 80% of people respond busy when they are asked how they are doing. Once I heard someone say that staying busy can become an addiction. Staying busy can become an addiction. And I really didn't understand. And I thought for a very long time that person didn't really know what they were talking about when they said that staying busy can become an addiction. This type of busyness that is an addiction, it pulls us away from God, and it is the opposite of what we see in today's gospel. Those who receive Christ, right? They come to receive Him. They're able to receive Him. But the type of busyness that pulls us away from God is not able to receive God. It is opposite to what we see in today's gospel. Busyness that I mentioned, that this type of busyness, it looks productive. It looks successful. It even looks religious and spiritual. Yet, it pulls us away from God and our neighbor. It empties our soul and leaves us hungry, still thirsty, not satisfied in our life. The fathers of the church, often they warn that the evil one, he doesn't always tempt us with evil things. Sometimes he simply keeps us busy by our own will with things that neglect God, that neglect Christ and our neighbor. So what does this busyness look like? First, the busyness that does not allow for prayer and worship. If we are not able to spend 10 minutes in prayer in the evening before we go to bed, our busyness is bad busyness. If we are not able to, at least at the minimum, in the evening, say the Our Father with our spouse, just the Our Father, which takes 15 seconds. If we're not able to at least do that with our spouse, our busyness is bad busyness. If something we are doing is always causing us to sacrifice prayer, then perhaps this busyness is bad busyness. Children, if you're not able to spend at least 10 minutes in the evening in prayer, in silence, saying, Lord, help me. Lord, be with me. Lord, strengthen me. Lord, encourage me, then our busyness is bad busyness. Second, what does bad busyness look like? Busyness which is coming from a place to prove ourselves to others. Busyness that comes from a place to be affirmed by others, to please others, people pleasing, to please others, to always make others happy, to always make others say good things about us, to control others, to prove ourselves, and to prove our family to others. This type of busyness comes from a place to prove ourselves, bad busyness. And the final, busyness that makes us less loving, busyness that makes us less compassionate, busyness that makes us more and more sad in our life and angry. Busyness that makes us less loving is bad busyness. When what we are doing makes us impatient with our spouse, our children, our neighbors, our parishioners, everyone in our life, our busyness is no longer emulating Christ to others. So I mentioned all the bad busyness, but there's a good busyness. There's a good busyness. There's a good busyness that we see in the saints. A very good busyness that we see in the saints. They worked diligently. If you ever visit a monastery, you always see the monks doing things in the monastery. Even when you come there, they're like going here, going there. They're always doing something in the monastery. They're not just staying in one place. Like the saying is, it's hard to hit, a moving target, right? So the saints, they worked diligently. They were busy without sacrificing prayer. Even in their busyness, in their mind, they remembered Christ. The saints, they cared for their families and their fellow monastics. and saw that as something sacred. The struggles that they encountered in caring for others, their family, right? Their brotherhood, their sisterhood. They saw it as something sacred, something holy, not something that's tiring, not something that is taking up our time, right? Not something that makes us angry, but as something very sacred. They served in humility, not from a place of self-glory. They visited the sick. They called them. They reached out to them, right? They sent letters to them. Now we can send text messages to people like that, right? They did these things when they knew that people were sick and struggling. They helped the poor and showed hospitality. And they fulfilled their responsibilities in the greatest way. They fulfilled the responsibilities without complaining. Without complaining or seeking recognition, they fulfilled their responsibilities, whether that's as a priest, as a monastic, as a husband, as a wife. Whichever role that they were entrusted to, they did it without complaining or seeking recognition from others. So let us ask ourselves as we come to this Sunday, is my busyness causing me to become more loving, peaceful, and more prayerful? And if the answer is yes, then likely that is good busyness. But if our busyness neglects God, neglects our spouse, neglects our children, where we're drifting away from them, where our distance from them is increasing as the time goes on, then likely we are engaged in bad busyness. In 2 days, half the year is over. In 2 days, half the year is over, and we have 6 more months for the rest of the year. Perhaps we have been busy in ways that are not healing us, in ways that are distancing us from Christ and our neighbor, from our children, from our spouse, from our neighbors, our coworkers. If this is the case, let us strive to have good busyness, as we see in the apostles, as we see in the saints, as we see in the scriptures. May Christ, our God, who had mercy on the multitudes and healed them, have mercy on us and save us, now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen.